Next on Deck with Tim Black.
So you got a whole lot of good people. Alexandria is extraordinary. I am so impressed by her work in Congress and she inspires young people all over the country.
Would you like to see her join in the Senate?
Right now we have, as I said, just a whole lot of people in the Congress. Okay, Jonathan, thanks.
Wait, I got one more. This is important.
Well, I asked you.
Okay.
You want to do nonsense, do nonsense.
I want you to look at every level of office around you and support Democrats who actually fight, because those are the ones that can win against Republicans.
I would not be telling you the truth if I didn't tell you that within the Democratic Party, there are billionaires who have undue influence. Democrats have turned their backs on the working class of this country.
Then why are you out there, Bernie? Why the hell are you out there at 83 years old trying to get people to vote Democrat? What good is saying that and then still doing what you're doing? Yeah, I know. She want to leave me, but I refuse to let her go. You can cry and cry for your sympathy. Means that much to me.
That was Senator Bernie Sanders and Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez drawing more than 30,000 supporters in Denver on Friday. I was there and spoke with Senator Sanders after the rally about whether the Democratic Party can do anything to slow President Trump's agenda.
Bernie is back.
Hey, Mr. Trump, people fought and died to create a democratic society. You're not going to take it away from us.
83-year-old independent Senator Bernie Sanders is drawing crowds even bigger than he did as a presidential candidate.
Feeling the burn.
Yeah.
For the past month, Sanders has taken his fight against President Donald Trump on the road. He's billing it the Fighting Oligarchy Tour.
We will not allow America to become an oligarchy.
In Denver, the anti-Trump sentiment was strong.
Oh, I think it's a disaster. And he talks about he has a mandate. He never had a mandate.
But so was the frustration with Democrats.
How's the Democratic Party doing challenging this?
They got to be a little tougher.
Quit being a bunch of doormats.
It feels like we're left stranded when everything feels like it's crumbling.
Tour's Western swing, Sanders was joined by New York Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
He has handed the keys of the federal government to Elon Musk and is selling off our country for parts to the richest people on the planet.
More than 30,000 people showed up for their joint appearance in Denver.
Look, as you know, when you run for president, you do a lot of rallies, and we've done a lot of big rallies. 32,000 people here is by far the largest rally I have ever done, and nobody's running for office. That tells you something. I'm trying to make it clear to the people throughout the world and throughout our own country that the American people are not going to sit idly by and allow Trump establish an oligarchic form of government where Musk and other billionaires are running our government. And we're not going to sit back and allow him to form an authoritarian form of society undermining the Constitution, freedom of speech, freedom of assembly, and undoing what the founding fathers of this country did in the 1790s, separation of powers, making sure that no one person had an extraordinary amount of power. And that is precisely what Trump is trying to do. He wants it all. He doesn't want Congress. He doesn't want the media. He doesn't want the judiciary. He wants all of the power. We cannot allow him to have that.
Well, I hear you telling people out there, fight back. What do you mean, though? How do they fight back?
Well, it's the question. We're working on it right now. But I think simply, first of all, coming here and showing the world that Americans are not going to sit back and take what Trump is doing is a good step forward. But obviously what we need to do is what neither political party is capable of doing right now. And that is develop a strong grassroots movement prepared to run candidates, prepared to stand up and...
Yeah, here we go again. This is assignment, song, and dance. So basically what he's done is he's taking the anxiety of Americans once again, use it and saying, hey, we're going to do something. And then it's not going to do anything. And it's going to come around 2 years from now. It's going to say, vote for these Democrats. That's what he's going to do. That's what he's always done. Look, hey, I've seen it too many times. I cannot contribute to, nor be a party to, the same song and dance that already took place twice. This will be the third time that Bernie does this. 2016, 2020, and now 2024. This is the third time he's done this. He does this every election. He comes out and says, oh, we should have done this and should have done that, and we need to do all these other things. None of those things get done. People get a bunch of fury. He raises a lot of money. And what happens? What happens? What I'm saying, what happens? When are people going to just accept the change that they want? Is not going to happen with the Democrats being in power and you being there. Like, I think, once again, you're going to have to leave it. Look, Black Americans, we didn't get reparations. We didn't get police reform. We didn't get investments in our communities. And now what we getting? Nothing. We get a bunch of talk from Bernie Sanders. And it's too convenient. It's too late. Talking about we going to fight now. How are we fighting? What's the fight? This ain't radical. It's late. Bernie isn't radical. He's late. AOC isn't radical. She's late. This is late. It's too damn late. You know what they're saying? The rent's too damn high. Well, the revolution's too damn late. You should have revolted back when you and your party and you had the power to revolt, when you could force your will on a party that was in power. That's when Bernie's supposed to have a backbone. That's when he had no backbone. That's when AOC had no backbone. At the precise time when having a backbone would be most beneficial for us, they didn't have a backbone. Now they're at a time where them having a backbone would be the least value, would hold the least value for us. And now they got all the backbone. They just walking around. Look at my backbone. Look at this backbone I got. Yeah, when you can affect nothing, when you can change nothing, when you can stop nothing, when you can build nothing, when you can offer us nothing, and then all of us gonna come with this, your handout, wanting donations to build up your own crap party. I know that. I know your mailboxes are lit up, ain't they? You people that have ever voted Democrat, I know your mailboxes are lit up with Kamala Harris and Bernie Sanders and AOC asking for donations from Act Blue. I know it is, because that's the game.
Question candidates, demand responsibility from their elected officials to stand with working families and not just the 1%.
I've been covering you for a long, long time. I've heard you railing against millionaires and billionaires for a long time.
Hey, guess what?
Is it different?
Turns out a few other people are catching on to that, right?
Yeah.
I have been talking for many years about this country moving toward an oligarchy. And I think anybody who is not dumb, deaf, or blind is seeing precisely what is happening. Trump's inaugural, right behind them, 3 wealthiest guys in America. You know, Lincoln talked about a government of the people, by the people, for the people. Remember? Well, we got a government of the billionaire class, by the billionaire class, and for the billionaire class. That's what we have.
So we're about 60 days into the Trump era, the second Trump era. How would you grade the Democratic Party's response?
Well, I would take us back even 2 years before that, before Trump was elected, and saying that it saddens me that when the Democrats had control of the Senate, they did virtually nothing for working people. And I have to say that I'm a member of the Democrat.
There you go. There you go. So what's going to be different this time, Bernie? Now they got religion. Now it's going to be a different story, Johnson. There we go. It's being honest. And for this type of honesty, what happens to you, Bernie? They stick knives in your back, throw you in a ditch, and throw dirt on top of you after throwing a stick of dynamite in the ditch with you. That's what they do, Bernie. And what do? You somehow miraculously escape the ditch, and you go right back to working for them all over again. I don't get it. Unless you're in on it. You know, at some point, man, and I've had beef with other people about this guy. God, if I could go back in time. Because sometimes you're just not on the same page with people at the same time. You know, everybody, and that's one thing I think people need to recognize. It took me time to recognize this. People are going to be in different stages at different times. When you get it, somebody's already doesn't get it. When you get it, doesn't mean they're horrible people. And we should be mature enough to realize, you know what? They ain't getting it at the time. I can't deal with them because they don't know what's going on. They're not where I'm at. I'm at a different place. But the bottom line is, Bernie Sanders, man, you can't go back in time. It is what it is. You're expecting people to do the same thing they've already done to get the same results? How could this be any different, Bernie? I don't see a difference. Bernie says, I know 2 years ago we could have did this, we could have did that, and we didn't do it, and I understand how wrong that is. So Bernie, what has changed? What's changed? What makes you believe the Democratic Party won't do that all over again? And that's the difference. That's a major difference, man. It's a major difference.
It saddens me that when the Democrats had control of the Senate, they did virtually nothing for working people. And I have to say that I'm a member of the Democratic caucus as an independent, so I'm not going to lie to you and tell you otherwise.
Yeah.
And since then, do I think the Democrats have been effective in rallying the American people in stopping Trump's movement toward oligarchy and authoritarianism? No, I don't.
Is there anything that you think Trump has done right?
Yeah, I mean, I think cracking down on fentanyl, making sure our borders are stronger. Look, nobody thinks that illegal immigration is appropriate.
Bernie, come on, you know that's bullshit. You thought that immigration, you thought nobody should have to go through any checkpoints or seek asylum, just open the door and just walk in. That was you, Bernie. You were on that, get rid of ICE, and just everybody just become Americans, like the entire world. You forgot that we got people in America not doing so good, who may not need all those other people in this country taking up the resources of a country that we're barely hanging on the bottom rung. You didn't give a shit about that. It was an afterthought. No one cared because mainly who you guys support are people that got money. They're in a certain position. They're doing well, and their donors, definitely the donors, the businesses that you support, the corporate bailouts that you signed on or your party signed into law. Y'all did that without a blinking, and now, without blinking, y'all did it. You signed on. And now, it's what we call campaign season. And you are bleeding voters, and now you're campaigning. You're campaigning because you're forced by desperation to have to come out here and talk to people and try to get someone to save the Democrats from becoming an afterthought, a ghost party, a party that really is gone. And I don't think you can do it, Bernie. I don't think you can save it. I don't care how many of the poor whites that come out to support you, Bernie. I don't care. Because at the end of the day, there is no policy behind it. You don't have any policy, nothing to offer these people. You're just an outlet for people to come scream at the moon, yell at the moon. Ah! They come out, yell at the moon with you. Then they go back to real life. And that's it. And maybe a couple of them will take what little bit they have in the bank to give you money so you can hold your next event. You can come out and tell everybody to scream at the moon. Ah! And then the cycle continues. And I just don't think it's fair nor reasonable to ask people to do that dumb, pointless exercise in order to feel like they're a part of something. You don't get it. When I was supportive of the political revolution, I believed in it. I will not support something I don't believe in. I will not support candidates or political party who I do not believe in. There is no reason for us to be attached to any party. We need to be attached to what's important for our families. That's it, that's all.
Now, I happen to think we need comprehensive immigration reform, but I don't think that it's appropriate for people to be coming across the border illegally. So we've got to work now on comprehensive immigration reform. The idea that Trump has, I don't know what his latest numbers are, he wants to deport 20 million people who are in this country who are undocumented. Well, you do that, you destroy the entire country, because I got news for you. Trump's billionaire friends are not going to pick the crops in California that feed us. They're not going to work.
Neither will your Democratic billionaire friends, right? But you know what? They got machines that pick crops now. You do know that, right? I've seen a machine picking crops. You know, that tired ass talking point is gone. You know, I don't know how many 100,000 migrants that came to Chicago, they ain't picking crops. That ain't what they're doing. They're working in all types of industries, and picking crops ain't one of them. Okay? There ain't a lot of crops to pick in Chicago. That's not what they're doing. They're not picking crops in New York City, where Mayor Adams said he spent what? Shit, $1 billion? Not $1 billion. Was it $1 billion? It could have been. It may have been $1 billion. I forget. It was a lot. It was a lot. It was over $1 billion. On just migrants. And they're not picking crops, Bernie. Stop. Cut the cap.
In meat packing houses, that's what undocumented people are doing. So we need a variety of programs, guest worker programs, but mostly...
Meat packing, yes, meat packing. You mean the same jobs black people used to have 20 years ago, 30 years ago, those jobs. A lot of white people worked those jobs too. Meat packing, like Smithfield, Tyson's. Yeah, meat packing. A lot of people work those jobs, Bernie. Not just people that cross the border. Now they probably pay garbage now because of the influx they were able to get cheaper labor. But that's the whole point of it, isn't it? Meanwhile, you sat back while Biden opened up the doors for 3.5 years, and I don't remember you complaining that one time. So you say nobody wants this to happen, but you allowed it to happen for 3 years, solid years straight. Unprecedented. Never before seen in history. The influx of numbers of people that came across that border. And Bernie Sanders had nothing to say. Now he's up here talking, revising history. Yes.
Comprehensive immigration reform.
But you know, illegal immigration, it exploded under Biden, and it had been high for times under Trump as well, but it exploded under Biden, and nothing was really done until his last year in office when he was...
Yep, should have done much better, no argument.
So realistically, Republicans control the House, they've controlled the White House, they control the Senate. So what realistically can be done?
Well, for major pieces of legislation, you still need 60 votes.
Yeah, you could send us money, and we could hold more rallies, and we could talk more shit. Yeah, you could vote for us, and we could continue to hold rallies and talk smack, and you could keep on giving us money. Yeah, you could just keep giving us money, and we can keep opposing it, being your voice and standing up for you. If you just keep giving us money, we can continue to continue to do performative politics. Yeah, we can continue to pretend to do something that makes you feel like something's happening, other than what's happening, which is the Republicans are in power, and the Republicans are doing what they're able to do because they have the House, the Senate, and the White House. Just like when we had the House, the Senate, and the White House. We did what we wanted to do. Just so happens what we wanted to do was not do things to the working class. We wanted to build electric car battery charging stations. Okay, that's what we wanted to do. Got it here.
In the Senate. And let's be clear. I mean, we have picked many of the spots that I've gone to in Wisconsin, in Iowa, in Michigan. We chose them carefully.
Yeah.
And those are because they have Republican congressmen who won by small margins. Right now, I don't know what the number is. I think if 2 or 3 Republicans out of 200 and whatever it is, 18 or whatever they got, choose not to support giving tax breaks to billionaires and cutting Medicaid and education, we can defeat this big supplemental bill, the beautiful bill that Trump wants to see passed. So right now, what we're trying to do is put pressure on those congressional districts, demand that Republican Congress people sit down and talk to their constituents and explain why they think it's a good idea to give $1 trillion in tax breaks to the 1% and cut veterans programs, cut Medicaid, cut Social Security, cut education.
You said that the...
I don't know what Trump's going to do because, you can't trust Trump because he's Trump, right? Trump said he wasn't going to cut Social Security or Medicare. He ran on not cutting these things, and all I get is Democrats saying he's going to cut them. And you know what? We hear this every election. It's the same thing. Democrats say Republicans are going to cut your Social Security. They don't cut it, and all the poor people run out and vote. Well, not all the people, but a lot of people vote based on that lie. It's not even true. Well, and the election's over, and people are still letting them say that lie. Like, no one's even running. It's just annoying to keep hearing it. Yeah, just because you want to cut the amount of employees, which has grown by 20% in some of these agencies just over the last 4 years because of Biden. Like, why would you need for an agency to grow 20% in 4 years? Like, did it come out with a new skateboard or something? Did it have a great year of marketing? So it was able to do, like, what happened? Did it develop an amazing new telescope? No, nothing. They didn't do it. A business might grow 20% under 4 years by doing something. You know, like they saw an acceleration and a product took off. They expanded and it was successful. And they opened up a couple new locations. And from that, they had to grow, or they can't keep up with the amount of customers because this got such great product. They got a line around the corner. They need a bigger place, and they need to have more cash registers. They need to have more servers. They need to have more tables. They need a bigger, like, there are reasons why a company might have to grow 20% in 4 years. But there's no damn reason why a government that doesn't create profit has to grow 20% in 4 years. And then when you say, hey, we need to cut back to where you were in 2020, you say you want the people to starve. You don't want the people to have quality food. Nah, cut the fancy aprons. Cut the new age microwave that you brought that cleans the self-cleaning, whatever, that goes to the store and buys its own, has a robot that picks up and delivers the food to the microwave, that pops the door open itself and does electric arm that puts out the food on a platter to you so you can serve it. Cut out the white glove service at the curb for the people. They could, maybe they could park their own cars, and maybe you could do away with the china and the crystal chandeliers. Like, maybe you could get those, turn them back in. You can have track lighting like you had. Maybe you don't need 20 servers. A couple of them just outside in the back smoking weed, doing serving hours. You can still keep serving food, just cut all that extra shit. But see, that's too logical. What I'm saying to you makes too much sense. It's too reasonable. It sounds like what I'm saying is crazy. It's not crazy. This is really what they're doing. They're growing these agencies because Biden wanted them to grow them, because they want to get their friends hookups and people got jobs or whatever. But what grounds did they have for expanding all of these agencies? They were not creating profits. Why are you growing them? Say, well, why do we need to spend all this extra money on these things? And then say we're going to make cuts. It doesn't mean you cut benefits. But see, that's how greedy and disgusting these people are. People are so greedy and disgusting. When you say we're going to cut budget, the first thing they bring up is the people. The people that they serve. They don't bring up themselves. They don't bring up their own salaries, the number of people that they've hired, the corporate outings, the conferences, the equipment. They don't bring up anything they use, all the Ubers and the Airbnbs and the first class flights. They bring up none of that. They say, well, how are we going to help the crippled children? What are we going to do with the crippled children? Meanwhile, they got a yearly jaunt they all go to. They call it company building, out in some island for 2 weeks. And everybody gets this 10% salary bump, right? All the top people get this salary bump every whatever. Like, they don't count that. Like, maybe that's what we should cut. It's disgusting, man. It really is. And what's more disgusting are all the people that buy into this and get scared and get become fearful. And what's disgusting about it is they intentionally scare these people to benefit themselves. That's disgusting, man.
The passage of this bill to the continuing resolution was a absolute failure of Democratic leadership. Who are you talking about?
Well, Schumer is the leader of the party, and it should not have happened, period. No question about it. But, when we talk about Democratic leadership, we're talking about the Democratic Party in general. So look, there's been nobody more critical of Chuck Schumer than I have been. And not just on this thing. But the bottom line is not just Chuck Schumer. It's not just Chuck Schumer. It is you got a Democratic Party in general that is dominated by billionaires, just as the Republican Party is, that is operates under the leadership of a bunch of inside the Beltway consultants, very well paid, who are way out of touch with the 32,000 people who are here today.
Ocasio-Cortez's criticism of Schumer has been harsher, fueling speculation she'll challenge him in the Democratic primary when he is up for re-election in 3 years. For his part, Sanders doesn't want to talk about whether or not Schumer should remain the Democratic leader in the Senate. And he got irritated when I asked him about the possibility of AOC running, abruptly getting up to end the interview.
Okay, you're out there with AOC today. Do you see her as a future of the progressive?
We have one of the untold stories of what's going on in current American politics, is that in the House of Representatives, you have dozens and dozens of strong, smart, disciplined, hardworking young people in the Progressive Caucus. And way back when I first came to the Congress and the House, I helped form the Progressive Caucus. We had 5 people in it at that time. Now they got close to 100. So you got a whole lot of good people. Alexandria is extraordinary. I am so impressed by her work in Congress and she inspires young people all over the country.
Would you like to see her join in the Senate?
Right now we have, as I said, just a whole lot of people in the Congress. Okay, Jonathan, thanks.
Wait, I got one more. This is important.
Well, I asked you.
Okay.
You want to do nonsense, do nonsense.
No.
I don't want to talk about inside the Beltway stuff. I got 32,000 people.
I was just asking you about AOC because she was out there with you.
Fine, but I don't want to talk about this. What was the last question?
I was just going to ask you one more question about you. I mean, that's all. I was literally your last.
What is your question?
Well, I mean, it's easier to I mean, I want to ask you about your future. This is the biggest crowd. You said you ran for president twice. This is the biggest crowd you've ever seen. Are we going to see you run again, or what's your future?
No, right now, I am very proud that the people of the state of Vermont sent me back to the Senate with 63% of the vote. Right now, I'm Vermont senator. That's what I do, and I'm very happy to do it. I am 83 years of age, and I'm tired.
All right.
I recognize I got some people watching this show that feel a certain kind of way about me having something to say about this. I get it. I get you leaving. Fine. Do that. This show ain't for you. Let me get this right. Bernie Sanders could get up and walk away when someone's asking him, should Ocasio-Cortez take Schumer's place? That's what you just saw him do, right? We're real clear about that. Why doesn't he show that type of fire when his party was taking a dump on working people? He himself admits 2 years ago, 3 years ago, the Democratic Party did not do what they should have done for working class people. When they had the House, the Senate, and the White House, they did not take that power and use it to make your life better. But Bernie had no intentions to walking out on their ass, did he? Nah, he didn't get up and walk out. He didn't stand up, throw a fit. On principle, he didn't do anything, did he? Also now, because of his friend, Chuck Schumer, he don't want to say nothing bad about him. Just being asked a question, he ready to get up. He say, oh, you want to play games? He's ready to walk out. These people are phonies. They are fakes and frauds. When they talk about eliminating abuse, fraud, and waste, they need to start with the actual politicians themselves. Start with those guys. Start with the politicians. There's your fraud, your abuse, and your waste. What about the human waste that's taking up space, that's lying us constantly in Washington? What about them abusing their powers, using it for their own personal gain, to put money in their pockets, to write unreadable books, to be superstars and influencers, to come at us every day on TV as if they're they're actors or performers. And that's all they're really doing is performing for us, huh? Performing a ritual of lying to us and then gaslighting us. Lying to us, gaslighting us, shortchanging us. Lying to us, gaslighting us, shortchanging us. Bernie Sanders, what he just did here, it just got me thinking, man. Because I've seen that part before, and I said, okay, I want to definitely use this and talk about it. But it wasn't until just now that I thought about the hypocrisy of someone who would get up and storm out, not over us, not over my kids, not over your kids, not over your parents, all the reasons in the world why he should storm out on the Democrats if he had any fucking ethics at all. He don't do it. He doesn't do it. He's calm. He takes his money. He does his job. But over a stupid question about Chuck Schumer's inept, feckless, lame politics, he don't want to speak. Or Ocasio's lame, equally lame, in my opinion, gaslighting, theatrical politics, he don't want to comment. These people have solidarity with some people. And it's not us. It's not us. This faux solidarity, this faux recognition and commitment to the people. It's all it is when they're doing these dumb rallies. But if you believe that, if you believe these rallies really mean something, if you don't understand when somebody's chips are down, when they're selling you wolf tickets because they're out of power, then right now is the time to drive the stake through their heart. If you can't see that, I don't know what you were raised on or where you are coming from, but you damn sure are a liability to the rest of us. Because if one thing's clear, or one thing's for certain, the BS that they're on is desperation. And they're not going to change unless we make them. Let's make them change. Man, make them change. If you don't make them change, they'll never change. I saw a clip where Don Lemon said he's now a progressive. And that's all I needed to hear, man. All I needed to see is this clip with Don Lemon saying he's now a progressive. And now I'm sure the sky is falling, that the sky has failed.
A bad thing when it helps so many people around the world.
Senator Sanders for taking the time to talk to us and for letting us get that last question in.
Perfect. You made it to the end of the video. I appreciate you. Now, Google thinks this next video is going to be perfect for you. It's right up your alley. So click the next video, watch that with me, and let's keep this politics going. You're built for this.